We went 2 months without hearing from Lewis Hamilton after Formula One's controversial 2021 season finale, but the 7-time world champion is on punchy form heading into 2022 and made it worth the wait. From admitting he'd lost a bit of faith in Formula One after the way he missed out on victory and the title in Abu Dhabi, to explaining how he's channeled that into being the best we've ever seen him in 2022. Hamilton was in a great mood as he ended his silence at the launch of Mercedes' new F1 car. While Hamilton and his team are not going to forget what happened last year in a hurry, they are keen to try to move on, and seem fired up to do so in style. Hamilton dominated the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and was set to win an 8th title before a late race safety car changed the outcome of the race and championship, allowing Max Verstappen to win both instead. FIA race director Michael Massey's handling of that situation triggered an outcry after the event, which prompted an in-depth review by the governing body that this week resulted in confirmation that Massey will not return to the position this year. In the intervening period, Mercedes had made it clear that both the team and Hamilton were deeply upset by what happened in Abu Dhabi, and that the FIA needed to make significant changes in order to rebuild trust in F1's officials. That eventually became a widely understood belief that Hamilton was not entirely sold on returning to F1 in 2022 unless the FIA's response was convincing. Now, you may have heard Hamilton speak during the launch of Mercedes' 2022 car when he pointed out that he had never said "I was going to stop." As Hamilton had a lengthy absence from the public eye, we couldn't hear this directly from him. But Mercedes had said that Hamilton was disillusioned, and he's now opened up about how he was left considering his future. First, Hamilton admitted that the days after the finale was a difficult time, and he needed to take a step back before refocusing for 2022. In a subsequent call with media, including us, it was clear that Hamilton really didn't want to state outright that he'd considered retirement. But he did say that he went through the process of wondering if he was willing to go through the arduous effort of a title campaign again, and that what happened in Abu Dhabi impacted that process.
At the end of seasons, you think, and the question is whether you're willing to commit the time and the effort that it takes to be a world champion. I think a lot of people underestimate what it takes to be a world champion. And there are so many moving parts. It's not just turning up and driving the car. So yeah, the question is, do you want to sacrifice the time? Do you believe that you can continue to punch at the weight that you're punching? And so that's a normal kind of mental process for me. But of course, this one was compounded by a significant factor, and I think ultimately a sport that I've loved my whole life. There was a moment where I kind of, I've obviously lost a little bit of faith within the system, but I'm generally a very determined person, and I like to think to myself, like, whilst moments like this might defy others' careers, I refuse to let this define mine.
We'll let you hear more from Lewis Hamilton in a minute on how feisty he's feeling ahead of 2022 and how he and Mercedes have reacted to the FIA's changes. But first, we have a quick favour to ask. If you like our videos and you want to stay up to date with all the big stories in F1, would you mind hitting that subscribe button? It really helps us out, and like Lewis, we intend to be better than ever in 2022, so you won't regret it. Hamilton has returned from his winter break determined not to dwell on what happened in Abu Dhabi. While spending time with family, Hamilton said he took time to digest what had happened, but admitted he still didn't fully understand everything. So his focus switched to enjoying some downtime and training, and then getting down to business with Mercedes without holding any grudges over 2021, so there's nothing holding him back this year. As a result, Hamilton says he's returned feeling fresh, centred and fully focused. And that's led to some punchy sound bites, such as Hamilton declaring he was putting absolutely every ounce of my energy and time into making sure that I'm the best you've ever seen. And we should probably do Lewis a favour and point out that he means the best we've ever seen from him. While he was in a bullish mood and maybe even believes this privately, Lewis isn't about to declare publicly that you're about to see the greatest driver that's ever existed in the 2022 season. But still, it's hard to fathom how a 37-year-old who will surpass 300 Grand Prix starts this year can keep improving. One of Hamilton's greatest strengths during his Mercedes career has been finding new ways to motivate himself so he can sustain his success. Sure, he missed out on the championship last year, but Hamilton still scored 8 wins in 2021, and had Abu Dhabi played out differently, that would have been 9, with an 8th title to boot. The season also included what will likely go down as one of Hamilton's career highlights. At the Brazilian Grand Prix, Hamilton qualified fastest but had to start last in Saturday's sprint race after a technical irregularity was discovered. He overtook 15 cars to finish 5th in the sprint, then took another 5-place grid drop for Sunday's Grand Prix, which he won from 10th on the grid, passing Max Verstappen in the process. At the time, Mercedes felt that typified Hamilton's quality in the face of adversity, as the sense of outrage around his qualifying exclusion had pushed him to a higher level. Now, the Abu Dhabi injustice has played out over a very different time frame, but Hamilton does appear to be channeling the same kind of energy again.
But I feel great. I feel fit. Naturally, when you have an extra year of experience under your belt, that always helps. And I always feel like through these sorts of experiences, you can turn that emotion into strength and into power. And that's what I'm doing. I'm putting that into my training. I'm putting that into the work that I have with the men and women here in this team. And if you think that you saw what you saw at the end of the last year was my best, wait till you see this year.
Mercedes dropped a legal challenge into the events of Abu Dhabi on the condition the FIA was taking the matter seriously and would eventually instigate meaningful change. Removing Massey as race director was said to be a Mercedes demand, but this was never something the team stated publicly, and Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff says it's not true. Wolff says the FIA has taken the right steps, particularly because he felt the problem went beyond the identity of the race director. And he called the new support structure around the race director essential. Massey will be replaced by Eduardo Freitas and Niels Wittig, experienced race directors from other categories who will rotate the position between them during the year. But they will also be assisted by Charlie Whiting's former deputy Herbie Blash, who returns in a permanent role as senior advisor. And a new virtual race control room will be created that will assist the race director in making decisions in real time, while direct radio communications between the teams and the race director will not be broadcast, and team bosses will not be able to interfere at all. Wolff said, "I believe that in the last couple of years we have seen a little bit of freestyle in the interpretation of the regulations, so yes, I'm happy with what has been implemented." Hamilton concurred, but with a note of caution. He said that trust is something that is built up only over a long period of time, yet lost in the blink of an eye or a flick of a finger. And while he hopes the FIA's changes are the first step towards that being rebuilt, he stressed that the changes need to be followed by real action.
Whilst we can't change the past, and nothing will ever really be able to change the way and how I felt at the time and how I feel about the situation, it's good to see that the FIA are taking steps to make improvements. I think accountability is key, and we have to use this moment to make sure that this never happens to anybody else in the sport ever again. And so, we need to, even everything that's been said by the FIA yesterday, we welcome that, but we have to make sure that we keep a close eye and make sure that we actually are seeing those changes and rules are applied fairly and accurately.
So now we know for sure Hamilton's back and apparently more motivated than ever. What are you expecting from him in 2022? And do you think F1 can finally start to move on from the Abu Dhabi saga? Let us know in the comments below, and if you like this video, how about leaving us with a thumbs up before you go?